The following program does not offer personal medical advice. Please consult your doctor before using any treatment or product we cover. Welcome to Go to Health Media with your host, Jonathan Marks. We provide a welcoming environment where experts educate you on important health topics, answer your questions, and provide information from which you can benefit in consultation with your doctor. You can visit and subscribe to the show at gotohealthmedia.com. And now, here is Jonathan Marks. Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Jonathan Marks with Go to Health. And today we're talking about something I know you all know about. It's the flu. Every year we hear the importance of getting the flu vaccine. It's easy to forget about and take for granted because it's been around for so long. But let me share some flu statistics which are serious. The CDC estimates there are over 500,000 hospitalizations a year due to the flu and over 50,000 flu deaths. This is serious stuff. Flu activity in the U.S. occurs from October through May, peaking through December and February. Those most at risk include adults over 65 years of age, people with certain chronic health conditions, pregnant women, and young children. And the best way to protect against the flu is for everyone 6 months and older to get vaccinated. With us today is Dr. Leah Smith. She's a pharmacist and vaccine educator at GSK, and she can talk with us more about flu symptoms and the importance of getting vaccinated. Welcome to the show, Dr. Smith. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Good. So tell us what the flu is.
Yeah, no, this is a good question because I know a lot of people sometimes just mix it up with the cold, but it's very
Yes.
different. So, very simply, the flu or influenza is a very contagious respiratory illness that is caused by flu viruses. Okay. And those viruses can infect your nose, your throat, and your lungs, sometimes causing pneumonia at times. And it's spread through really tiny droplets when someone who has the flu coughs, or when they sneeze, or even when they just talk, right?
Mhm.
And the flu is so contagious that you can spread it before you've even noticed that you have any symptoms,
Oh, wow.
right? And so there are some people, like you mentioned at the top there, who are at increased risk of some of those more serious flu complications, but literally anyone can get sick from the flu, even young, healthy, active people. All right. So we don't want to just think that because I'm young or because I'm healthy, I won't get the flu or I won't have any serious complications. It can happen to anyone.
Right. Now, we said it peaks between December and February, but when should we get the flu shot? I've heard if you get it in September or even early October, it's too early because I don't know why it's too early. Is the vaccine not effective after a few months? How does this work? And what's the best time to get the flu shot?
No, this is good. So really too early, I would say, is July and August. If you're
Okay.
getting it late September, October is the perfect time, right? Ideally, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommend that you get it before the end of October. But even if it happens after that, that's okay. Like you said, peak season is between December and February during those winter months across most of the US, right?
Right.
And it takes about 2 weeks for your body to mount that response. So it's
Ah,
not as if you get it and then immediately, you're protected. So that's
okay.
why you want to get it before the peak season starts.
Got it. So literally just like 2 days ago, I got my flu shot. My arm is still sore. Is that part of the process of developing, the immunity to the flu?
I got mine last weekend too, so kudos to you.
Good.
So it's so weird because everybody's different. Everyone has a different reaction. Your arm is still sore. My arm wasn't sore at all. So
Hmm.
everybody reacts differently to getting any vaccine, really. But
Mhm.
when you do feel like that soreness, or sometimes people feel tiredness or a headache or something, that is your body's response to mounting, right? Your immune system's revving up. So that's a good thing when you have sometimes those reactions that you feel. That means your body's working and building that response.
Yeah, I know because the last couple of days I've kind of not quite felt like myself, but I just know that I've gotten the flu shot and I'm glad I'm not going to get the flu. Now, tell us, people die from this, but It's such a common disease. I mean, how does death happen, I guess? What's the process where people get so sick that they die?
Well, like I said, everybody's different, and so I don't want to spend too much time going down that rabbit hole. But like I said, it can impact some people and cause pneumonia, right? And so people, especially older people, can die from pneumonia. If you already have a respiratory illness like asthma or COPD, sometimes having an infection like the flu can cause you to have exacerbations, they call it, or basically like flare-ups, which lead you to the hospital and sometimes, depending on your status, can lead to death. So there's many different avenues that it can happen based upon having the flu. It can aggravate certain other conditions that you already have. Does
Got
that
it.
make sense?
Okay. And each year, tell us how the vaccine is developed, because I know each year, I guess researchers figure out what virus is going around and then create the best bet they can make about what should be included in a flu vaccine. How does this work?
Yeah, it's a very interesting process. So thanks for asking that question. So every year, like you said, experts around the world will meet, and here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's based on what's happening in the Southern Hemisphere, right? So generally, what's happening down there kind of bubbles up to where we are. And so every year, experts will decide what's going on there to determine what will be put into our flu vaccines. And the reason that we have to do this for the flu and not really many other vaccines is that the flu mutates, the virus changes very frequently. And so that's why this is one where they have to reevaluate every year to decide what it's going to be. And they try to match it up as best they can.
Got it. Okay. So it really is a different thing every year. Now that you said this is a virus, so this is not like a bacterial thing where you can be given an antibiotic. What treatments are
Correct.
there
And
when
I'm
you get the
so
flu?
glad.
What treatments are there?
I'm so glad you brought that up because people think whenever you have a runny nose or a cough, you could just take an antibiotic and then that will help it. But that is not the case for the flu. Okay. So, what you do though, if you have symptoms like a sore throat, headache, runny nose, cough, it's really hard to distinguish sometimes between the flu and a cold. Usually, the flu symptoms come on quicker and they're more intense, but really, there's no way for you to know unless you get tested. So, if you're starting to come down with these symptoms, go get tested, right? So, your doctor can determine is it flu, is it COVID, is it RSV, is it, there's so many different things
Yeah.
it could be. But if it's determined to be flu, there are antiviral medications that can be given to you, but it's really important that you get in within a certain amount of time in order for those antivirals to be effective.
And people can learn more where? Where do we go to learn more?
Well, there's a lot of information available about the flu just in general and about flu prevention at cdc.gov/flu. And you can also on that website learn about what's going on locally, like in your own state or region, how flu, COVID, and RSV are kind of circulating at any given time.
Oh, good. So we can kind of get the latest flu news there, huh? That's
Yes,
cdc.gov/flu, FLU.
yes, that's
Good.
it.
Great. Anything else you want to talk to us about, doctor, in terms of flu prevention or getting the flu? Tell us what didn't I ask that I should have?
Well, I guess I'd like to talk about where people can get their flu vaccines, right? Because we're living in an age where it's pretty convenient, luckily, for us to get it. So if you're at your doctor's visit, I'm sure they'll ask you about it. But if they don't, I'm sure they have the flu. You can ask them about it, about the vaccine. Local pharmacies now, even in smaller independent pharmacies, will often have flu vaccines that you
Mhm.
can just walk in and get if you're there picking up some other items or another prescription. Churches, schools, workplaces, they often will have flu vaccine clinics this time of year. So I think the most important message is that if you or if you have someone in your family who's 6 months of age and older, you do want to make sure that you can get your flu vaccine every year, right? Because it is not just a cold. It can be more complicated. In fact, I just spoke with a mother recently who has a little son. He's very cute, named Caden, and her name is Michelle. She told me about his story, and it was just so heartbreaking. Apparently, a couple of Christmases ago, around 2022, he started to get sick. And then fast forward, he was diagnosed with flu. And then it led to him being hospitalized. A young, healthy, active little boy was hospitalized in the ICU for 2 weeks.
Mm.
And unfortunately, he ended up having both of his legs amputated.
Both of his
And I
legs
know
amputated. Wow.
Both of his legs were amputated. I know this isn't something that people hear often, right? And so it doesn't happen often, but it can, right? And so people think it can't happen to me. It won't happen to us. We're too busy. But Michelle is really passionate about making sure that people make time and talk to their doctor or pharmacist about getting that flu vaccine every year. And
Wow.
Caden is so sweet. He's really just a ball of energy. He has his prosthetic legs. He calls them his robot legs. And so, they're just really grateful to have him in their lives, right? But again, she just really wants everyone to make sure that they make time for their flu vaccine. So that's why she gave me permission to share her story.
Good, good. And one last question before we go. There's been vaccine hesitancy for whatever reason, I guess, coming out of COVID or whatever. How safe is the flu vaccine? Do people need to have any worries about it? Tell us, how can we be
Well,
more confident in getting the flu shot?
right. And I'm glad you used that word confident, right? Because we want to change that language from vaccine hesitancy to vaccine confidence. And so that's why I'm here today, to kind of build some of the confidence around flu vaccine in particular. And so you ask if it's safe. So every person and everybody is different. So I can't speculate about whether flu vaccine is right for 100% of everyone, right? And so that's why you do want to talk to your own healthcare providers. But what I will say is that according to the CDC, the flu vaccines have a long history of safety, right? So hundreds of millions of Americans have received the flu vaccine over the past 50 years, right? And so there's extensive research that does show the vaccines are safe. So again, you should talk to your doctor or your pharmacist about your particular condition and your circumstance.
Good. Great. Well, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, we've been talking with Dr. Leah Smith. She's a pharmacist and vaccine educator at GSK. We've been talking about getting the flu vaccine. Please do get yours so you don't get really sick. And if you want to learn more, you can go to cdc.gov/flu. Thanks again, doctor, for being with us. It was really great talking with you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Good. And then as we say at the end of every show, go to health. Take care, everybody. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in this week to Go to Health Media. Be sure to join Jonathan Marks and another health expert next time. You can also catch the program on your favorite podcast platform. Until our next show, be sure to visit us on the web at gotohealthmedia.com and elevate your life.